CNN News Channel. Today we're covering the Darfur Genocide.
What exactly is a genocide, Nick?
Crazy you ask, Brooke. Well, genocide is an act of mass murder against a certain minority of people. Their aim is to destroy a certain group, and in this case, it is the Sudanese government against the rebels.
The Sudan government introduced and backed the ganja weed.
The ganja weed, what's that?
The ganja weed was the army introduced by the Sudanese government to keep civilians in check.
Oh, right. They were the ones that committed this genocide.
Yes, that army caused harm to those all over Sudan and hoped to wipe out protesters.
By harm, she means nearly 400,000 people were killed, as well as common series of rapes systematically across women and their daughters.
What caused this?
There were great economic differences between North and Southern Sudan, causing rebels to protest. Now, a word from our sponsors. Now, new and exciting Pokemons. You gotta collect them all to beat your friends in battle. And you can now get these at your local store for a small price. I choose you.
Oh my gosh, Nick, you play Pokemon?
Now, back to the anchors in Darfur.
We got a signal.
What?
Here we have one of the survivors of the genocide, Hawa Muhammad.
I remember the taste of guavas and mangoes before my world became dark. Though my recollection is blurred, I do have remembered the turning point where the Ganjaweed rode into my town on camels both shooting and chanting. I watched my three brothers get shot right in front of me, and before I knew it, I was shot as well. I pretended to be dead until the men of the Ganjaweed left that night. I was lying right next to my dead family members. I was in utter shock. We finally reached a refugee camp in Chad, where I was then transported to Houston, Texas to receive medical treatment. I began a new life in Texas with my family and now advocate for families facing the horrors of genocides around the world.
Miss Muhammad, I can't imagine. I'm glad you're able to join us here today to talk about such a traumatic event.
Wow, this is heartbreaking to hear about the tragedy that Hawa had to go through early in her life. This really just goes to show that this could happen to anyone. The turning point between the people of Darfur and the rebels was when most civilians were forced to evacuate and flee from Darfur, and most people found themselves in Chad.
Chad? Isn't it hot there?
You know where it is hot.
Darfur.
Out of the weather. It's a warm 86 degrees Fahrenheit with a chance of getting up to scorching 90 degrees in the Mara Mountains. Friday we will even reach 102. Dang, Brooke, that's almost as hot as Ryan Reynolds.
Hearing about people suffering all around the world makes me so sad and frustrated.
The Darfur genocide was a tragedy like the Holocaust or Rwanda's genocide.
You would think after the Holocaust, people would be steering away from this violence.
Exactly. It is hard to see this happening so recently.
I know! The 2000s, Kanye was already releasing music.
I just hope people realize that this isn't right.
Like Hawa said, you can advocate to prevent this all.
The trauma they caused was so indescribable. I can't believe what it escalated to.
I know, all because of the economic differences.
I guess it makes sense. Sudan is one of the largest countries in Africa, more space for conflict.
Mass slaughter and rape seems like it wouldn't solve conflict. This began in 2003 and was the first genocide of the 21st century.
It was a surprise attack, too.
Thankfully, we in the United Nations stepped into court and helped.
Yes, on March 7, 2005, the UN Security Council requested an increased peacekeeping force to support the already deployed troops providing relief to Darfur. On March 29th, it was passed.
That following November, the United States Senate passed the Darfur Peace and Accountability Act, which is exactly what it sounds like.
Years went by, and with time, Sudan healed.
In 2009, the U.S. provided major relief along with the rest of the U.S., which ultimately ended this genocide.
The Sudanese forces were finally stopped by the United States forces.
In 2011, South Sudan was the world's newest country, making a major step towards ending the violence in Sudan.
Although the currency of Darfur is not great, there has been a surge of violence and displacement since 2020 due to the factions fighting for power from a rebel group.
Take your stand,
Or this will continue to happen.
till next time.
We'll see you on BNN next Monday.